Behold, the Flexifoil Blade Mark III 4.9 meter power kite. This is the third of what is currently 4 generations of a high aspect ratio power kite made by Flexifoil Power Kites. High aspect ratio, long story short, that means lift more than anything. So if you want to do jumps and things like that, like me, then this is the kite. They call it the Widowmaker because, well, you figure it out. We're going to review this kite because, honestly, I don't have the ability to fly it right now, and I'm bored. So, I live in the US, and these are really hard kites to get in the US because they're manufactured in the UK. So I had this shipped over from a nice guy who sold it to me on eBay, and it's here. So, to start the review, we're going to go with the intakes. The intake is spanning the entire leading edge, which will result in some unique flying characteristics. I'm not sure exactly what yet because I'm not an expert, but I know that all the other kites that I have intakes primarily what you're looking at right here versus all the way across. And continuing with the intakes, if we zoom in here, we have a nice mesh covering all of the cell intakes. This is nice because when you're flying around at warp speed, you won't have the concern of having leaves, bugs, small children being sucked up into your cells and ruining your kite flying experience. Moving on to the material, you can see by the little squares here that it's a ripstop nylon. I think it's called Chikara. And of course everyone loves the crunchiness of the sail. We have the bridles here. They're a little bit of a mess, but you can tell that they're two different colors, gray and black. Gray is for power or gray lines, black is for power lines. If we zoom in a little bit more here, you can see that the attachment points are of good quality. No concern of ripping or anything here. And if we zoom in on some of the other parts, like right here, we have sewn attachment points. This is good quality sewing, none of that cheap stuff like you'll see on some of the Chinese kites or what have you. We use the lark's heads, which is obviously a good attachment point and for modification and whatnot. Moving on to the bottom of the kite, we have the bridle tie downs. They're Velcro that you just put your bridles in there when you're packing and unpacking, and really limits the tangling that you have to deal with when you go to fly your kite. Really nice feature. Thank you, Flexifoil. And speaking of other nice features, we're going to move to the wingtip here, where we have our nice warning sign saying not to do anything stupid or else you'll probably get hurt or killed. Now, if you take a look at this wingtip, we're going to listen here. You hear that? Takes you back to childhood before you knew how to tie your shoes with a Velcro. Well, that's exactly what we have here. And if I can do this with one hand, you'll notice that it opens up the wingtip. And space age technology allows you to dump out all the crap that got past your really cool intake mesh cover. So if you do manage to get sand or whatever in there, really easy to get out, because sand is really bad for a kite. Really bad. So we're going to move on to the handles. These handles are pretty nice. They're made of a plastic material. I think it's PVC or something. They're pretty lightweight and comfortable. They've got a foam covering, which would result in pretty comfortable grip. And a feature that I really like is the leaders are thick, first of all, and they've got this foam stuff, neoprene or whatever, covering it. That way, when you're flying, this part doesn't hurt your fingers like my HQ lines rub it raw unless you're wearing gloves. So thanks again, Flexifoil. The kite killers themselves, pretty nice, say Flexifoil on them. They're good material. I'm sure they're gonna kill the kite if I need it to. Hopefully that situation won't come around, but you never know. One concern I have about the handles is the fact they are PVC or whatever that plastic material is. They could break in strong conditions such as a buggy, jumping, or what have you. But since I don't do any of that, at least not yet, I'm gonna stick with these handles unless I decide that they suck. We'll see what happens when I fly. The lines is what we're going to do next. Here's a power line, and you can see it's a nice braided material here. Pretty thick. I think it's a 250 kilogram, which should be adequate for what I'm doing. The only problem is you see a lot of white here, all white lines. I don't particularly like that because I've got my HQ power kite that has the blue and red lines for power and gray for the brake lines. That makes sorting them out and untangling them much easier. And I do not consider myself a pro as far as untangling and tangling, and I think I'm going to switch out the lines because they're rated, I believe, about the same, if not stronger, than these flexi lines. So they make a good backup set, but I don't particularly like them. They are a little bit smoother because I don't believe that they are sleeved, but they might be. I can't tell. So that being said, this kite has been reviewed to the best of my ability, and the only thing we have to do now is fly it. So thank you, and catch you later.